welcome to the deep dive. Okay, so today we're diving into a really compelling story. It comes from a U.S. Marine, posted over on Reddit, in the Our Military Stories community.
Right.
And the title alone kind of hooks you. A boring day of walking for hours in Malaysia looking for alcohol ended in a serious manner. It was like a movie.
It really sets a scene, doesn't it, that contrast?
Exactly. And that's our mission here, really, to unpack this one personal story, because it starts so, well, mundane, just guys wanting a drink.
A simple goal, yeah.
And then it just smashes headlong into this huge world-changing event. It's quite the collision.
It really captures something fundamental about military life, especially deployments. The source mentions they were on a float, out on ships for an extended time, and apparently they were pretty far from any active conflict zones at that point. So much so, they felt like it might as well be a cruise, just sailing around.
Almost like a holiday, yeah. Then they get this unexpected stop in Malaysia, a port visit. Seems like pure downtime.
Exactly. And what's the first thing on their minds after being stuck on a ship?
Well, yeah. Get off. Stretch their legs. The source says, shake their legs, eat, and enjoy the scenery. Standard stuff.
But also, find a bar.
Right. Finding alcohol was apparently high on the list. They mentioned others had been there before and managed it, so they knew it was possible, just maybe not easy.
And that's the first hurdle, isn't it?
Yeah.
The source points out Malaysia is very Muslim, which culturally and legally makes finding alcohol, especially in public bars, much trickier than other places they might visit.
Definitely not straightforward, and the story really gives you a sense of the effort involved. This wasn't a quick search.
No, not at all.
They were walking around town for, what was it, about 5 hours?
5 hours, just wandering, asking locals.
And getting apparently mostly confused looks. Could be language barriers, could be the request itself.
Or just not something openly available or advertised. Yeah, you got to know where to look or who to ask.
You really feel the frustration building in the account. 5 hours in the heat? They were getting close to just giving up?
They found one place, described as a wine shop thing, but that wasn't it. They wanted a proper bar, a restaurant maybe, somewhere to sit down and actually drink.
Yeah, the social experience, not just buying a bottle.
Right. It's about relaxing, unwinding.
So they're about to pack it in. Then finally, a bit of luck. They think, okay, maybe check the taxi ranks, see if a driver knows something.
Smart move.
And bingo, they find a driver who speaks perfect English. They just level with them, basically say, look, we've been trying for hours to find a place to get a drink.
And this driver, he gets it. He explains why it's difficult, linking it to the local culture and rules. That context they were missing.
And then he offers the solution. He knows a place.
The loophole, as the Marine calls it.
Yeah, he takes them to this nice beach restaurant. The Marine figures maybe because it served food, serving alcohol was okay there.
That's often how it works in places with stricter rules, yeah? Restaurants operate a bit differently than standalone bars. It's that local knowledge proving invaluable.
Absolutely. After 5 solid hours of searching, finally, success.
You can almost feel the relief.
They sit down, order drinks, get some food, and there's this great little detail. They notice other Marines around doing the exact same thing in different spots.
So it wasn't just them. It was like this parallel mission happening across the city, little groups fanning out, all trying to find that same relaxation spot.
Exactly. This shared, unspoken quest for a beer.
And they finally get to kick back for, about 30, 45 minutes? Just enjoying that hard-won moment.
Yeah, finally chilling out. And someone in the comments on the original post mentioned that looking for Chinese or Indian locals is often the trick in Malaysia for finding alcohol. Different communities, different rules, maybe.
Interesting insight. Shows they're a local strategy.
All right. Thankfully, no mention of, king cobras showing up at the beach restaurant, which another commenter randomly brought up about the countryside. Let's stick to the main thread here.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Because that relaxation, that 30, 45 minutes, it doesn't last.
Not even close. It ends very, very suddenly. They're just settling in, drinks in hand.
And they start noticing a commotion. People stirring, activity picking up all around us. Something's clearly up.
And then bam! Marines in uniforms pop out nowhere in buses.
Official vehicles. Official personnel. Not Liberty folks. This is serious.
The message is blunt. Go back to ship. No explanation given right then.
And what do? Having just finally gotten their drinks after 5 hours.
Yeah. They play kind of dumb, just for a second.
That's all.
Basically. They wait for those last drinks they just ordered, and the source says they slammed them before we got on the bus.
Got to get it down right. Can't waste it after all that effort. A tiny rebellion.
You got to picture the scene on that bus, though, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Chaos. Some Marines are sneaking drinks onto the bus, trying to keep the party going, maybe.
Still others.
Others, who clearly found their loophole much earlier, had been drinking for hours. The source puts it bluntly. They were drunk, Ev.
Oh, boy.
And yeah, some apparently threw up in the bus. So you've got confusion, defiance, and some very drunk Marines all crammed together being urgently recalled.
What a shift. From beach restaurant to that.
They get back to the ship, to their berthing area, and initially it's kind of like the bus continued. Still loud, still confused. The source says, most of us drunk of just being dumb and loud.
Still processing the recall. Probably no idea why yet.
Exactly, that vibe. Noisy, maybe a bit rowdy, definitely confused. It's about to hit a brick wall.
Because they see the news.
Yeah, they see it on TV and the birth thing. Not an official briefing yet, just the news feed. Raw.
And what they see stops everything.
Horrifying news. Reports of hundreds dead in Japan, a huge earthquake.
A massive natural disaster.
But also something about the nuclear reactor fallout in 2011. Now, hold on. Let's be precise here because fallout sounds like a bomb.
Right, that's maybe not the technically perfect term the Marine used in the heat of the moment, but the core issue was real. It was the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant disaster.
Exactly. Caused by the massive earthquake and the resulting tsunami. Huge coastal damage. And this critical situation at the nuclear plant. Not widespread fallout like Chernobyl, but a very serious nuclear accident with localized radioactive releases.
And critically, this disaster zone,
Yeah.
that's where their unit was based, or at least where they were now being sent.
Right. So they see this on TV. Earthquake, tsunami, hundreds dead, a nuclear emergency in Japan. Where they're headed.
To reaction.
Instant. The source says they became silent of and sobered up just like that.
Wow. Just silence.
Total silence. The noise, the drunken confusion gone, replaced by shock. The weight of it just landed. You can almost hear that silence through the text.
It's the sound of reality hitting hard. Their whole perspective just flipped 180 degrees.
Yeah, the source nails it. Within hours, my demeanor went from thinking we were skating to, holy shit, we are going into a nuclear fallout. Or, well, a nuclear emergency zone as part of a wider disaster.
That feeling of being on a cruise, taking it easy, evaporated, instantly replaced by this terrifying prospect, heading towards the danger zone.
And even the environment shift is noted. From nice and sunny Malaysia.
To anticipating cold and snowy Japan, but not just cold devastated. Post-tsunami Japan.
Quite the contrast, physically and mentally.
So eventually they get there, to Japan. The source doesn't go deep into the specifics of their mission, which is pretty common for these personal stories. It's the immediate impact that sticks.
And the image that stuck with this Marine.
Cold mud everywhere, and cars stacked on each other.
Wow, stacked cars. That just paints such a vivid picture of the power involved, the sheer force of the water.
It's almost unbelievable.
Yeah.
And the Marines thought seeing this wreckage just completely bewildered me, thinking, how the hell does that happen?
Yeah, that raw human reaction to seeing something so outside normal experience. Your brain just can't quite compute the physics of it.
Exactly. How does that happen?
So let's pull back a bit. What is this whole arc? The hunt for beer in Malaysia, the sudden recall, the news, the stacked cars in Japan. What does it really tell us?
I mean, it's almost a textbook example of military readiness, isn't it? How quickly everything can change.
Totally. You're always on call, essentially.
Your personal downtime, your simple plans like finding a drink, they exist, but they're always secondary to the operational needs. And those needs can shift in an instant because of something happening halfway across the globe.
The contrast is just incredible. The mundane, almost funny struggle for a beer.
Right, navigating those local rules.
Slammed against the backdrop of a massive international disaster response. It shows the huge spectrum of experience within one deployment.
And notice the role of information. That TV news report wasn't just data. It was the catalyst.
Yeah, it wasn't an order, but it changed everything.
It instantly reframed their entire reality, from liberty mode to crisis response mode.
Yeah.
In seconds. That's the power of real-time information in that context. It redirects your entire being.
It's such a potent reminder of how these huge global events, things that feel distant, can just suddenly intersect with your own life, your own plans, especially if your job puts you on that global stage.
Absolutely. That aha moment, for the listener perhaps, is seeing how a TV screen showing a disaster fundamentally altered the course for these individuals, from a beach in Malaysia to a disaster zone in Japan.
And it highlights the mental agility needed too, right? To go from worrying about finding a bar to worrying about, well, navigating mud, wreckage, and potential radiation hazards. That's a hell of a switch to make.
It really is. This story, their small part, fed into the larger Operation Tomodachi, the huge U.S. military relief effort for Japan after 3/11. Their search for a drink ended with them becoming part of that massive response.
So to wrap it up, we followed this journey from a simple, frustrating quest for leisure in sunny Malaysia, navigating the local scene, finding that loophole,
The jarring interruption, the recall, the chaotic bus ride back.
and then the sobering, stunning impact of seeing the news from Japan, the earthquake, the tsunami, the nuclear crisis.
Leading them ultimately to arrive in that cold, muddy, devastated landscape, witnessing the unbelievable aftermath firsthand.
It's a really stark human look at how unpredictable and demanding military life can be. That constant potential for a sudden shift from the everyday to the extraordinary or even the catastrophic.
Yeah, that pivot from personal time to critical mission readiness.
And maybe that leaves us, and you listening, with something to think about. How do those big, unexpected world events ripple outwards? How do they challenge our own sense of normalcy, our plans? And what does it really mean when disaster strikes elsewhere and you find yourself, maybe unexpectedly, called to respond or simply deeply affected by events far from home?